ain't one of these guys killed no crackers yet. And they're challenging everybody else to do it, but they're not doing it. Right? And then when we do things that work, like there's Moors right now. There's Moors right now writing writs to credit bureau people, and credit bureau people have taken the stuff off their credit report. And their credit, whatever, rating, stuff like that is going back up. This is not from filing no UCC papers or nothing like that. This is not from contracting with somebody else to whatever. Just sending a letter. And there's more doing that across the board for different things. Just send a letter and see what type of response you get. You don't know what kind of response you're gonna get. But we do know that the letters are being received and there's action being taken in favor of the one who sent the letter. Right? Like we know that. That's actually happening right now. So we have to take the position of recognizing that if we don't do it, it's not getting done. Whatever it is that we want to see. You want to see Moorish anything, you better build it. Because ain't nobody coming out to go do anything for so-called Moors. Because our whole concept is we're supposed to be self-governing. So if we're self-governing, why are we doing stuff for ourselves? If we're self-governing, why is it that everybody wants to see something from the Moors, but the Moors aren't creating the stuff they want to see?
So where's the process in that?
As far as when you say that,
seeing the Moors doing it, setting up the platforms.
well, it comes down to us realizing what it is that we have, realizing what it is that we had. When we look at Noble Drew Ali's time and we check the records and we see that there wasn't only just Moor Science Temple alone. There was community centers. There was manufacturing companies. There was schools. Right?
So the idea is to maybe before you get to that part is to really understand what we were before who we are.
Yeah.
Is that the idea?
Because if we like Noble Drew Ali said, you are what your ancient forefathers were without doubt or contradiction. Right? Okay, so we're our forefathers now because we've adopted the customs, right? But he also said, go back to the state of mind of your ancient forefathers. Clearly we're not there. We might be our ancient foremothers and forefathers, we're Moors nationality or whatever like that, but when we say the mind of our ancient foremothers and forefathers, that's not what it appears to be amongst all the Moors. There's some that are there, that they can do this and make fire and stuff like that. There's some that are there, right? In the mind of the ancient foremothers and forefathers, they would draw something on the ground and then cart goes over cliff and all that type of stuff. Because they're in the mind of their ancient foremothers and forefathers, not just being their ancient foremothers and forefathers. And then this is where it comes in with the information. That when you look behind the veil of the information that's presented by Noble Drew Ali, and then you get these little keys that are behind, that's really what the quote-unquote supreme lessons in Noble Drew Ali. I'm going to hand you the supreme lessons later. The supreme lessons is the stuff in the background behind the veil. That you have to be of sound mind to be able to extract those keys in order to save life, save your family, save your business, save whatever it is that, you know what I mean? Like we were saying, the Moors knew in Noble Drew Ali's time, when he was around, that you could invoke the spirit of Noble Drew Ali in a time of distress. That's something that was taught to Moors. Right? Something that was taught to Moors is that you can invoke the spirit of Noble Drew Ali if you're threatened. That's why he told Moors that, yo, if they threaten you or whatever, and you can't flee, just turn around and drop the wall on them, because you're going to be working with the spirit of Allah at that point. You have to worry about what they're going to do to you. If you have the spirit of Allah, will you worry about them people? If the spirit of Allah is working through you against an enemy, an adversary, right? So it's getting people back to the state of mind. And then once they're back in the state of mind of their ancient foremothers and forefathers, now you have the ancestors on your side. Not only the ancestors that you know in your family that passed for them, but ancestors that were on this vibration of making sure our people are liberated. And then you have, you know, like they say in Vodou, then you have the Orishas on your side. The spiritual ancestors now on your side. Right? And working with you. Right? Making sure that you're protected. Making sure that when you go outside, highwayman's not stopping you. Even though you have no license and plates are expired and all that stuff, they don't see you. How come they don't see you? How come all these people are on there getting stopped or whatever like that, and there are certain people who, you know, that are Moors or whatever like that, they haven't had no legit plates for the past 5-6 years. And they don't get stopped. Ever.
As you say that, the other day, like maybe a month or so ago, I was in the mall parking lot, and I was driving out to get exit, and it was going the opposite way I wanted to go, so I looked back and there's no cars behind me, and I reversed like maybe 20 meters. And then I reversed into the parking area, and then, because a van was coming up. When I reversed out and like that, and I was facing that way, the van was passing by, and it was four highwaymen in an unmarked car, and they didn't even look at me to see like, who's this guy who just reversed in front of us like that?
Right.
They were just looking straight like I wasn't even there.
Right.
And I sat down and really think like, wow.
Right.
Like that's divine power right there.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
Right? It's like what they say, telling somebody this yesterday. Out of sight, out of mind. So if you're not thinking about them people, you're not gonna see them. And it always happens. Soon as you have the thought of them, here they come around the corner, and then behind you, with your no plates and suspended license and no insurance and all that stuff. And then you get the energy going, oh, they're back there or whatever like that. And then you send the energy out, and then, you know, they got their little stuff, they pick up on the energy, and they flip their cherries or whatever, and then, you know, you're dealing with whatever you're dealing with. Right? Because like we're saying, this is something that is more spiritual than it's, you know, national. Any other questions or comments? Let's put this out there. Prophet Drew invited to Canada. So pleased were Dr. Oscar and Madame Bruton of Toronto, Canada, with meeting Prophet Noble Drew Ali, founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America, that they invited him to Toronto to be their house guest as long as he could afford to remain. Impressed with the wisdom and possibilities of the Moorish Leaders Program, Dr. Bruton would like to arrange for a series of lectures by Prophet Noble Drew Ali for the benefit of the citizens of Toronto. Remember, that's 1920 something, right? Citizens of Toronto? I thought citizens are supposed to be of Canada. right? It is believed the prophet will act favorable on the distinguished Canadian's invitation. And again, these are all just articles in the Moorish Guide newspaper, right? So, like we spoke about, the fact that, you know, we're saying, you know, Prophet Juali invited to Canada, but it was specifically Toronto, and he was specifically in contact with individuals here who were doing the same type of missionary work that he was doing. Madame Bruton, like we said, she had hair salons, she had community center on Yonge Street, all that type of stuff. But you go research her today, you're not finding nothing on her. Why is her? She had community center for so-called black people on Yonge Street. And nobody doesn't know about her. Nobody not mentioning her. She's not getting no awards from Canada for doing whatever it is that she did. The monumental stuff that she did. She was one of the first, quote-unquote, black women with a hair salon in Toronto.
Who are we talking about right now?
Huh?
Who are we talking about?
Madame Bruton. Yeah, Leona Bruton.
They only seem to mention Madame C.J. Walker.
Yep.
Why do they mention only her?
Right.
Right? What's her significance and not Madame Bruton?
And then Oscar Bruton was a, whatever the head is called, in Order of the Elks. Order of the Elks. And that was one of those, you know, Masonic orders or whatever. Humanitarian order. Something else I wanted to read out is okay. From the Prophet Noble Juali, March 11th, 1929, Moorish Science Temple of America, Home Office, 3603 Indiana Avenue. Brother Crombie Bay, the governor and chief head of the temple in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Brother Charles Bay, governor and chief head of the temple in Cleveland, Ohio. These two brothers are empowered by the prophet to investigate business, etc. of Temple Number 4 in Detroit, Michigan, because Lomax Bay has violated all divine laws of the prophet, even before the prophet's face on February 15, 1929. He claims that the prophet has no more power and that the finance from Detroit would be in his charge. He wouldn't send any to the prophet. He yelled with a loud voice, "Look at me, I will guide you through. This is lawful and living evidence spoken before 1,500 people, and the prophet was also present. I, the prophet, declare his office vacant and the name of Grand Governor discharged. He can only be a member according to law because the Moorish Science Temple of America is a divine organization. Each temple is under supreme guidance of the prophet. When man fails after being placed head of the temple by the prophet of obeying our divine laws and constitutions, he is a traitor, an enemy to divine creed, and unloyal to the national government, USA, to which the movement is to make men and women better citizens." Anybody got questions?